Hello, welcome back to another Creative Tab tutorial. Now, in today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at masking out specific colours of a photograph. So, just to illustrate what I'm trying to get at here, what we're going to be doing. If you look at, I've just Googled mask specific colours Photoshop, so you can see in this one that everything else is black and white apart from these coloured eggs or whatever they are. And in this one, just the orange has been masked out and there's a little bit of skin there. With this one, just the hair is hair and the irises are coloured and everything else is black and white. So we're going to be doing this today. Now, the photo I'm using is of this gin and tonic by here. So you can go to the link, and I'll put the link in the description below, and download this image. And we're just going to single out the yellow of the lemon, or yeah, lemon. So that's the only bit that's going to be in colour. Now, let's dive on in. So I've opened the image inside of Photoshop. Now what I always do is duplicate the background layer by just clicking and dragging down to this new icon down here. And then we've got a copy, okay? So we'll turn that off and we'll rename this to main image. Excellent. Now there's multiple ways to actually turn a photo in Photoshop to black and white. But you know, you can use hue and saturation, for example. So I just went down here for an adjustment layer, hue and saturation, and then you can just take the saturation down and it just basically sucks the color out. That's not the best way though. I'm going to show you, because there's quite a few other ways as well, but I'll show you the best way. And funnily enough, it's the black-white filter, not filter, adjustment layer. So click that and it'll go on top. Now, we want to make sure that we link this adjustment layer to just this image so it doesn't affect anything else that might be below. So with your mouse in between the two, just hold Alt and you'll see that my hand then changes to a little arrow icon. Give that a click while you're still holding Alt, and then it's linked with that little arrow. So if we were to have this background image on and turn this one off, it doesn't affect this adjustment layer, it only affects this image that it's linked to, okay? Now, the reason I like this one so much is because it looks at the reds, the yellows, the greens, the cyans, the blues, the magentas, and you can alter each one individually. So you can play around with the reds, play around with the yellows, and kind of obviously the yellows will be bringing back in. But if you play around with these darks, you've got a lot more control than the hue and saturation. There's not many greens or cyans in there. There's a little bit of the blues in there and those berries. But the good thing about this one is that you can just play around and get a lot more control. As I said, there's not many greens in there at all. So I'm going to click auto again just to get it back to normal. And I may dial down the reds a little bit and just go for that little sort of contrast. Okay, so we've got this now, it's working. We can turn the eye on and off. However, it's got a little icon by here, and this is called a layer mask. Now, everywhere you see white in this little icon, this adjustment will be applied, okay? So everywhere you see white, so it's the whole image at the moment. Now, if I get a big brush, and make sure you've got this icon by here, this square one, this white square selected. If I were to draw black across the whole thing, you can see as my computer catches up, you can see that I'm painting essentially the color back in. So when this updates, you'll see what's happening. We've got a black line across there because I've just drawn black onto the mask. So wherever it's black, it doesn't show through. It's not this adjustment isn't applied. Wherever it's white, it is applied. So if you were to get a grey brush, like 50% grey for example, let's get one of them, make the brush a bit smaller and go like that, it half brings the colour back, okay? So greys, you can see that little grey dot there in the bottom, greys half bring it back, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're just going to undo those two and we're going to zoom in. Let's do these lemons first because they're nice and easy. There is other ways to do this as well, but I find this is the way that gives you the most control. We're just going to change this back to black because we want to essentially paint in where we don't want this black and white to affect. So we're essentially bringing back the colour. So I'm going to turn my hardness up to about 70%. So basically all I'm doing is I'm painting in the colour, because when I've just quickly done this, you'll see you've got that little black section, and essentially that's just saying, right, don't apply the black and white to here. And this is how these are created. So I'm going to do mine quite quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. If you've got a blurry edge, you may just want to bring your hardness down a little bit and maybe be more precise. Bring the brush size down with the square bracket keys, zoom in a bit, and you want to get right up close to those edges, like so. And then you know, you can do this on absolutely anything. You can do this on a person, an object like we're doing. And let's say you accidentally go too far, Oh, look, I've accidentally gone too far. Great. Well, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. You can change this back to white, and then we're just painting white back in. We're saying, actually, we do want it. We do want the black and white to apply here. So if you go out of the lines, don't worry, just change it back to white. So wherever you want it to show, you paint white. Wherever you don't want it to show, you paint black. So that's quite nice. Now, I think that's a little bit of lemon there. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on mine because I want to do it quite quickly for you guys. So I may go out of the lines a little bit, but just so I can do it quickly, because there's another good thing. Now that we've got these masks made, there's another nice little trick we can do. So I'm going to hurry up and do these. And yeah, you can do this on family portraits, absolutely anything really. So most of the way there now with mine. Just going to colour this little bit in, come down to here, just make sure I got that bottom bit, and a little bit there. Great, so we've got that, and you can see where we've masked it out. So I'm going to come up here now to this little bit, and again, I'm going to try and do this as quick as I can. I'm going to bring this down here. Okay, I may go over on the berries a bit, but again, you can change to white, and you can come back then. Is there yellow there? Yeah. So you may not know whether there's actually yellow, because I didn't think there was yellow behind this. But oh, there's quite a lot of yellow there. Ah, here it is. It's behind, I think, an ice cube. So I'm just going to bring all this bit back in, like so. There's a lemon in the background, and there's a lemon down the side. See, it doesn't actually take too long. You may obviously want to go in and tidy it up, because mine's not the tidiest. Oh, there's yellow over here as well. Did not realise that. Okay. Now, I've accidentally painted in a couple of these berries. So an easy way to swap this from black to white, if you hit the X key, you can see black and white swap around. So just hitting the X key is going to save you a lot of time. So if I was doing this professionally, obviously I'd be taking a lot more time. Let's just paint out some of this berry, like so, and paint out some of these berries, or whatever they are. They might not be berries, but let's just call them berries for now. I think that's done it in that section. I think that is a lemon behind that ice cube. I'm just going to paint in a little bit down here. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay, no worries. I can change this back. And if you want to skip ahead to a little bit later, you can, because I'm going to show you some other techniques. Another technique. Now that we've made these masks, we can use them for other things. I think there may be another. Here it is. So I'm just going to bring this one in, and then I think there may be another one behind somewhere, but I'm just going to leave it in terms of time. So I'm going to paint this one in, like so. And then the real fun begins when we have these masks actually made. Cool. Oh, and the yellow goes in. There you go, there we are. And yeah, it's just about done. May tidy up these edges a little bit because there's a little bit of green, and I think that's some chromatic aberration in the camera actually, but we don't want the green showing through. So just paint out that edge slightly, like so, and then we'll be golden and ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. If we zoom out, you can see we've mostly done it. Now I'm actually going to turn this main image off so we can see the image below. Now there is yellow there, and there's a bit of yellow there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think that looks, all right. So the good news is we've got this mask separated. So if we wanted to go and create another layer, another adjustment layer like vibrance to make them more vibrant, we can. And I want to put this above, and let's just alter the vibrance like so. It just makes those colors pop a lot more. Okay, turn saturation up maybe when I'm pushing it a bit too much. But you can see when I turn it on and off, it's just pushing those colours a lot more. Now, some of these effects will affect the background. Now, because there's no colour in the background, it's not going to. So maybe this one's a bad example. Let's use curves, okay? So curves, and again, just make sure you alt-click to make it link. Now, if I start playing around with the curves, it does it to the whole image, okay? So I'm just going to go for something a little bit contrasty. Just move it like that, maybe. Okay, let's get rid of the vibrance. Now it's doing it to the whole image, you can see, and that's not good. So if we right click on this layer mask, add mask to selection, it's added that as a little selection now. So you can actually see there's bits in there which I've painted in, which I should have painted out, but it doesn't matter. Now if we come to the curves layer, let's turn it on and delete this layer mask. So it's not got one, but then come down to the bottom and apply a layer mask. It's going to look at this selection and only apply it to that area. So now it's the exact same layer mask. So if we turn it on and off, all of a sudden it's doing it the other way around, which is a bit weird, but that's fine. All you need to do with this selected, go to Control I or Command I on a Mac, and it'll invert this, okay? So now it's only doing it to those lemons, and it just makes it pop a lot more. Now I might dial this curves down a little bit, like so, and I may bring a vibrance in, because we don't really need to mask this one, because it just does it to the colours. So I'll come in and make it a little bit more vibrant. There we go, and like that, we've come from this image to this image to this image, a little bit more poppy, and then a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to leave it there, but you can see if we did want to, again, I'll show you how to do it. Let's right click, add mask to selection, and delete this layer mask, and then add it. So it's only going to do it to there, but you know, it was only doing it to there anyway because it only works for the color. But you can do it to anything you want to, maybe a person to separate them from a background. If it's background's black and white and you just want to have them in color, you can do anything you want. So cheers for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next tutorial.